Hi, my name's Fabian, and welcome to the Mental Hygiene and Resilience series from Resilient Networks. In today's episode, we'll be focusing on two powerful breathing techniques. One is diaphragmatic breathing, or known as deep breathing, and the other is 4-7-8 breathing. Both of these are backed by research showing how they can help calm the nervous system and build resilience. If you'd like to see some of the evidence, check out the links in the description below. Before we start, if you haven't seen the introduction to this series, I'd encourage you to check out that video first. Just click here. In that video, I'll explain how we're using bilateral stimulation and approaches of rescripting and rehearsing throughout this series to help skills really stick. If you've already watched it, you'll know how these tools fit into what we're practicing today. So let's dive in. First, we're going to start with diaphragmatic breathing. This helps you connect with the muscle that's under your lungs, known as your diaphragm, to help you breathe more deeply. And if you ever see an infant or young child, you'll see that they oftentimes breathe with their bellies, kind of going up and down. My understanding is that as we age and get older, we lose connection to that muscle, and maybe we're using our core for more stability. And so we're kind of breathing a little bit more shorter, shallow breaths with our lungs, upper muscles. So one way to do this breathing technique or connect with that muscle is you're going to put one hand on your chest and one hand on your stomach. And just notice which hand moves a little bit more as you take a natural breath. Right. That simple awareness can already help you shift into a calmer breathing itself. But we're going to really feel that muscle working. And so to do that, again, you can put a hand on your chest, a hand on your stomach, and you're going to pull the air down into your stomach in just a moment. But to do this, we're going to first push all the air out of our lungs. I will do this with a sharp kind of inhale real quick, and then I'll gently tighten my stomach as I'm breathing out. So just like this. We push all the air out, just like that. And I'm going to breathe in where it feels really tight. Just like I'm pulling air down into my belly, like I'm inflating a balloon. We'll let my belly expand and exhale through my mouth. Let's do that two more times together. Breathing in, breathing out. And gently squeeze the stomach as we're breathing out. And then one more time, breathe in. You should start feeling that belly expand a lot more, and you're going to breathe out. And just by doing that, go ahead and take a slow scan through your body. Kind of start from the top of your head and just slowly work your way down. And notice any positive changes. Maybe you feel a little clearer headed. Maybe you feel a little warmer or more relaxed. Once you've noticed those shifts, let's go ahead and use some of that bilateral stimulation. That gentle tapping back and forth on our arms, shoulders, or legs, whichever you like. We're just going to do this for about 10 seconds. Let that sink in, or you can do as long as you like. Just notice those positive changes. And we're just focusing our awareness on that as we're doing that tapping. Right? Great. Great work. And so we're going to now move on to the 4-7-8 breathing technique. This one uses rhythm to settle the nervous system. And here's the pattern. We're going to do it in a moment. We're going to inhale our nose for 4 counts. We're going to hold our breath for 7. And then we're going to exhale slowly out of our mouth for 8. I will sometimes recommend for my clients to have like their tongue right behind the top of their teeth and kind of breathing out slowly. That helps slow the air down a little bit. Before we even do this skill, the real science of the skill is that you're breathing out twice as long as you breathe in, which really signals to your nervous system that it's safe to reset. If at any point you need to modify this, you can do for 3 in and out for 6. You can breathe in for 2 and out for 4. Ideally, though, we're going to practice the full 4-7-8 pattern. We're going to do that for 4 to 6 cycles is actually best. But today, let's just practice for 4 cycles of that skill. So let's go ahead and try one cycle now. In through the nose, make sure we're breathing with that diaphragm again, that belly. We're going to breathe in. Ready, go. You're going to hold. Breathe out slowly. A little hard sometimes. Feel free to go ahead and pause the video, practice for 3 more cycles at your own pace. And I'll be right here. I hope that you paused. And now that you're finished, I want you to just take a moment to notice how your body feels as you're kind of getting settled in. Maybe you're feeling a bit more grounded, more steady. Go ahead and just notice those positive changes. And we're going to use that gentle tapping to let those changes settle in. Again, you can do that for 10 seconds. You can pause the video if you need to and let that sink in for longer. Great. Okay, so once you've been able to let that sink in, now that we've practiced, we're going to do the rescripting exercise. So this is we're going to be thinking of a mildly stressful moment from our past week if we can, or it could be last 2 weeks if we need to. And I want you to be thinking about something that's like at a 5 or below, if we're looking at a scale of 0 to 10 for stress or distress. I want you to think about, if you want, I want you to imagine how you felt emotionally and physically and how you reacted in that moment. Pause here if you need a little bit more time to think through that. If you're wanting to listen, I'm happy to think about driving. That's one of my things. I'm a good driver, but also with drivers who don't use their turning signals or who just forget. And that does lead me to feel frustrated or kind of like, might have gotten into an accident because somebody's not communicating. And so I would imagine, if I had to, I'm just going to work with an example a little made up here, but let's say I slammed on my brakes in a situation and I'm feeling really frustrated that this person didn't turn and put on their turning signals as they're getting ready to go into a store or something. And here I am frustrated. Here I am, got a little bit of short attitude, and how that attitude might show up in my conversation with family, friends, or partner, and just kind of how that energy is in my body. So I'd think back about all of that, conjuring up those feelings, conjuring up that imagery if I can. And then I'm going to imagine, for the rescripting here, we're going to imagine using that skill. So I would like pause the video. I'd practice the 4, 7, 8 breathing as if I'm in that moment. And then I would take a moment to really think about, how am I feeling different? How might I have reacted differently, responded differently? And so I want you to do that for a moment. Take a time if you'd like to think about something at a 5 or below and practice the 4, 7, 8. Think about those changes. And once you've done that, continue to watch this video and we'll go through a little bit more. So remember, rescripting is about revisiting that moment with a new skill. So again, if we want to practice that, noticing those changes, I want you to go ahead and reflect on those positive changes in our nervous system, right? Once you've been able to reflect on how you might have felt different or how you might have acted differently or responded in that moment or carried on, you're just do some slow tapping. You're just gonna let that awareness, that physical sensation awareness, those positive shifts, just by doing this to help those 2 parts of the brain communicate and let that sink in, okay? If you want to do something that's, stronger, like a 5 or above, you're welcome to, but only if you feel safe doing so. If at any point you feel that you need more support, please reach out and find a therapist through psychologytoday.com or by calling a number on the back of your insurance card to see who's in network. Great. And remember, this is not psychotherapy, this is intervention education. Great. So finally, let's go ahead and rehearse for a future moment. So we've done the rescripting, we're going to rehearse. Similarly, we're going to think of a mildly stressful situation that you might be facing soon. So, kind of imagine what you might feel like, how you might respond or react, and if there's like a conflict at work or a friend, family, or could just be doing tasks, having a hard time getting started with something. Go ahead and evoke how you might feel, how you might respond in that stress. Pause if you need a little bit more time. And once you've now been able to kind of imagine that, you're going to go ahead and practice that 4-7-8 breathing as if you're in that moment, right? Um, Once you've practiced that, again, you can pause if you need to, continue as you'd like, but there's no rush on this, right? Just really let yourself and that awareness sink in. And now that you've been able to practice that, let's go ahead and do one more slow tapping. Just kind of let those positive sensations sink in. Okay. You do it for 10 seconds or as long as you need to. Great. Again, you're welcome to try this with more intense situations. If you feel safe doing so, you're welcome to. But remember, if you need extra support, seek out professional guidance. With practice, these skills will shift from that logical awareness into that intuitive awareness, becoming part of how your body naturally responds to stress. And from somebody who's done these skills, taught these skills, practiced these skills for years and years, I will tell you it does. And it's actually been very helpful, I know, in my life and being able to navigate through different moments with more ease or kind of bouncing back quicker so I can deal with situations better. So remember again, this is intervention education. It is not a substitute for therapy. And yet it's a practical way to help you build a mental health toolkit. And so next time, we'll think about some somatic and acupressure points that also helps with regulation. So we're targeting kind of our breathing, kind of somatic experiences, or kind of bodily experiences, and then we're also going to be working with thoughts down the road. And so just some tools and frameworks, intervention, education is the goal. So thank you again for joining today, and I hope to see you in the next video.